Hi, I just want to thank Dr. Christian Freeman-Roth for inviting me. Thank you to Trent University for having me. I wish I could have performed for you in person, but obviously we're in different times. This was the next best thing. It was done in front of a distance audience, so no one has to worry about that. It was a lot of fun. I hope you enjoyed this set, and I really look forward to performing for you in person sometime soon. Take care, stay healthy, and always proud to be an alumni. And Champlain College is the best.
Please put your hands together right now for the very, very funny Mr. Arthur Simeon, everybody. Arthur Simeon.
It is a pleasure to be here. Thank you for coming out on a Saturday night. This is the world that we're living in. This is it. This is it. I have to address this because this is not how we were doing things before. This is new. I understand it. We need this. We need to keep each other safe so we can get back to normalcy at some point. But for now, keep each other safe. And I get this, but this is fucking weird. This is weird. This looks like like I'm performing for a bunch of serial killers, and I need to be kept safe. It feels like I'm the Pope and I'm addressing people, and I need to be kept safe. Or, more appropriately, it feels like I'm a serial killer, but I'm still hilarious. And the authorities are like, he kills people, but he's also very funny. So we will keep him in a cage, but we'll bring audiences to him. Just don't blink, though. Don't blink. He'll kill you. Don't blink. It's very strange. It's a very strange thing that we're doing. But this is where we are, and I genuinely am happy. This is the first weekend. I'm doing shows in 5 months, and I'm genuinely happy to be out again, doing what I love. But I will tell you, I learned a lot about myself in 5 months of quarantine. In 5 months of quarantine, you learn a lot. The first thing that I learned was that I'm built for stage one. I am built for stage one. When the orders came from up above, they were like, hey, shut everything down and you cannot leave your house except to go for groceries. I was like, sign me up, sign me up. That is exactly what I've been doing for 15 years, so sign me up. I am good to go. I am built for stage one. Ooh, the idea that I never have to shake anyone's hand again is amazing. It's amazing. I'm so happy about that. Because most of you are disgusting human beings. Most of you. And you know exactly what I'm talking about, okay? Because here's the thing. With this job, every time you would finish a show, people would come up to you and would be, hey, man, great show. And they would want to give you a handshake and dap you up. And you're like, yeah, I got to do it because I want these people to love me. But now, not anymore. Not anymore. I don't give a fuck. I'm never shaking any of your hands ever again. Most of you, cool handshake, but every once in a while, you would go in and the hand would be wet, and you're like, what the fuck is going on? It's not even raining. Why is your hand wet? You've been inside watching a comedy show for 2 hours. It's not raining. Why is your hand wet? But you can't ask that to an audience member, right? We need your love. You can't ask. But it gets worse, because you might think the wet hand is worse. No. It gets worse, because the wet hand, you can explain away. Maybe they just went to the bathroom, washed their hands, and didn't dry their hands. Cool. But every once in a while, you'd go in for a handshake, and your hands would stick together. Like, what the hell is happening? And there would be like this sticky liquid, like just coming off of it. Oh, don't groan, okay? I'm the one who went through it, okay? None of you have to deal with this, okay? But I do like the people groaning, because you realize that is disgusting. If you're sitting next to someone who wasn't disgusted by that, that's the person I'm talking about. That is the person that I'm worried about, that I never have to touch ever again. It's great. But I'm happy. It's everywhere now. This is what we're dealing with. We have to address it because it's weird. The tables used to be all the way up here. We can't do that anymore. There's sanitizer everywhere, okay? And I'm happy about that. Because I'm a person who was carrying hand sanitizer everywhere I went, but it was a secret, okay? I felt shame about it, right? Because no one else was doing it, right? Because most of you have disgusting hands, right? And So I have carried hand sanitizer my whole life, and I just walk away, and I would look at the corner, and I would wait until no one was looking. like I'm doing crack cocaine or something. Not anymore, okay? Now I'm just like, bring it on, okay? Like, let's do this. It's a fun time. Ooh, look at that. That's hand sanitizer. Like, it's sprinkling everywhere. I'm like, yeah, let's do this, right? Because now this is the thing that we do, and we're all proud of it. But then, 3 weeks ago, they were like, hey, Canada just recalled 52 different brands of hand sanitizer. And I was reading, so I was like, oh, crap. What happened? And I read. And they're like, yeah, 52 different brands were recalled about 3 weeks ago. And the reason they gave was because this hand sanitizer wasn't fit for human consumption. Yeah. And that is 52 different entrepreneurs going, oh man, fuck. Most of them are in Oshawa. So they were like, oh man, I was just trying to make a buck, right? And they were like, this hand sanitizer is not good because it's not fit for human consumption. I'm like, no. That's the hand sanitizer that we need, okay? The one that's not fit for human consumption. And they were like, but what happens if a 5-year-old drinks this hand sanitizer and they die? And I was like, no, let that child die. Let that child die. If your child is drinking hand sanitizer, you have failed as a parent. Let that child. That is the universal sign that we don't need that child in society. We don't need that human being to grow up. Do you understand? It's not going to get any better. It's not going to get any better. Like, no child is drinking hand sanitizer at 5 and figuring out the cure to COVID at like 26. It's not going to happen, okay? If anything, we're in this situation because of people who were drinking hand sanitizer when they were kids. Because you guys heard the conspiracy that someone ate a bat and now we can't fucking buy onions without wearing hazmat suits. Like, that's one person who was drinking hand sanitizer at 5. Let them go. You walk into the room, you see a 5, 6-year-old guzzling hand sanitizer, be like, yep, that's good, that's good. We don't even have to have a big funeral anymore because, it's small groups are encouraged in this day and age. Quarantine told us to stay home, and we all learned about each other. We all learned things, okay? We learned about each other, and we learned a lot about life. And the first thing that I enjoyed, okay, I didn't enjoy much, okay, but there's things that were interesting to me during quarantine. The first thing that was interesting to me were people who were refusing to isolate. Right? Because here's the thing. Everyone thinks they're way more important than they really are. Everyone does, okay? Everyone in this room does. Everyone in this room is like, I'm so important. No, you're not. But people think they're genuinely very, very important. I'll give you one example. There's a guy in my building, okay? He was worried because he had to take a business trip of some kind and was worried that when he came home, he would have to isolate for 14 days, okay? And he was arguing with officials who were like, no, you have to, when you come back, you have to isolate. And it's like, no, I don't have to isolate. I shouldn't have to isolate. This is bullshit. I don't have to isolate because he's very important. And in my mind, I'm like, you know what? There are occupations that are important that maybe you don't need to isolate. Maybe you're a surgeon or a nurse or a paramedic or any sort of health worker. Chances are you have patients that rely on you. Maybe you are a truck driver who's driving supplies across this country. Maybe you are a grocery store worker. These are the people we needed to keep us going, right? And I thought this guy was one of those, but he wasn't. He was an accountant. He was an accountant, and he didn't want to isolate. And I was like, why? Isn't getting into accounting isolation in itself? Is that the first thing? Like, no one here hangs out with accountants. No one here. They're the most boring people on the planet. And you know how I know this? Because every time a comedian writes a joke and they're thinking of a boring occupation to put in a joke, you know what the default is? Accountant. That's what we go with. Because we all know no one hangs out. None of you are friends with accountants. And some of you are accountants and you're sitting here being like, I don't like that. No, it's the truth. It's because you have no friends. Okay? You've never seen. No one cares. And they do an important job, and accountants are very smart human beings, but you've never found a good-looking accountant. You know why? Because no one wants to hang out with them. No one, okay? And this guy's like, why can I isolate? Like, you have no friends. Who are you going to meet? You're an accountant. No one hangs out with you. Do you know how I know that no one hangs out with accountants? Because even rich people don't hang out with their accountants. Do you understand? And no one relies on accountants more than wealthy people because they keep money in your pocket. But anytime you see a movie, right, with a really wealthy person, right, they're portraying like a multimillionaire or billionaire, right? They're hanging out at the golf course, right? And who are they hanging out with? They're always hanging out with their lawyer. Because lawyers are crazy human beings. And they're fun, okay? So people, even wealthy people are like, no, I like my lawyer, they're crazy, they say some shit, and they keep me out of jail, okay? That's the cool part. And they're always playing golf, right, with their lawyers, and they have their assistant standing on the side with a cell phone. And then the cell phone will ring, and the millionaire will be like, hey, what's going on? And the person will be like, oh, it's your accountant. And they're like, yeah, I'm not available right now. And that's the person who keeps their money. Okay? And some of you are still not on board. I will give you more evidence of this fact, okay? Every porn site in the world does not have a parody that includes accountants. Do you understand that? Every other job has been parodied to death. Policeman, firefighter, pizza delivery, plumber, electrician, flight attendant, pilot, surgeon, doctor, nurse. All of them are in porn. Not one video where someone is like, oh my God, are you the accountant? Oh my God. Oh my. Are you the guy who does accountant stuff? Oh my God. No one. They would rather make 650 videos of people fucking their sisters than one video of someone sleeping with an accountant. I checked, I did the research, okay? I did the research. And that's my permission for anyone in the room who's gonna watch porn in the next few days. If you get busted by your significant other, just be like, no, I was just fact-checking the comedian. I was just making sure. He's right, there's 650 videos. The other thing that I liked about quarantine, we shut it down, was the Olympics got canceled, right? The Olympics were supposed to be this year, you know. Like many things in the summer, a lot of things got canceled. Obviously, travel is to a minimum now, and people were afraid. But I don't know if you guys remember this, but Canada was the first country to pull out of the Olympics. The Olympics were still on, they were still debating, and Canada was the first country to be like, you know what? We're not gonna send our athletes to Japan, we're out. And everyone was like, oh my God, look at Canada being a leader, being responsible, protecting its athletes. What, like, this is amazing. Canada was a pioneer. And I was laughing because I was like, it's bullshit, okay? Canada was the first because they were like, oh, thank God we don't have to go and suck. We don't have to go and suck at. Canada sucks at the Olympics so much. They suck at the Summer Olympics. You dominate the Winter Olympics. Oh, you dominate, and you're so proud of it too. You're like, we dominate the Winter Olympics. I'm like, you're supposed to, okay? You're one of 13 countries that have snow in the world. I hope you dominate the Winter Olympics, okay? It's you and Finland. Those are the only two places that should dominate the Winter Olympics, okay? But you suck at the Summer Olympics, and I get it, right? Like, I mean, I don't, but I get it, right? Because, like, the Winter Olympics, like, let me tell you something. You shouldn't be proud to dominate the winter. You know why? Because, again, one of 13 countries in the world that have snow, okay? Like, if a bunch of sub-Saharan Africans just showed up and dominated the Winter Olympics, now that is impressive, okay? Just a bunch of Ugandans showing up. They don't even have equipment for skiing. They're just like, no. Put me on a plywood. I'll go down. Just put me. That's impressive. But Canada sucks at the Summer Olympics. You can't. You know how I know that you suck at the Summer Olympics? You had a gold medal in one of them in swimming. There's a girl that won a gold medal in swimming, and you actually considered making her prime minister. Like for like 2 days, people were like, should we put her in office right now? What are her credentials? She's a swimmer and she got a gold medal. That's enough for me. Because the Summer Olympics, like, here's the thing, the things that dominate, and Canada's not one of them, and I feel bad for the athletes, because you train for 4 years just to find out that you're mediocre. That's a horrible, horrible thing to go through. That's horrible. That's horrible. Every other championship, every other thing, it's every year, and sometimes you just find out very quickly, like you basketball, whatever, soccer, whatever it is. But in the Olympics, you wait 4 years to find out, and then the worst part of it is the journalists, the CBC people who cover these Olympics. I hate all of them, okay? Because there should be some sort of compassion when you're in the media and you're someone who interviews Olympic athletes. There should be a rule, and this should be like a global rule, okay? If the contestant from your country comes in last, don't talk to them, okay? Just let them finish the race and just go and cry in a corner by themselves. They know what just happened. But this idiot from CBC, right? I remember there was a 2008 Beijing Olympics, the swimming, right? They go into the pool, it's a final, right? They go back, boom, boom, finish Michael Phelps. It's the gold medal. There's another person, like a Russian or something. Yeah. The Canadian in the race came in 8th out of 8 people, okay? You saw him look up and he's like, oh, yeah, Canadian flag, my name, yeah, last. Okay, and this idiot runs to the pool. This guy's not even getting out of the pool yet. And he just stands there and is like, hey, how do you feel about this? What the fuck are you talking? And you have to give some insane stock answer, like, you know, it was a hard race and it was, I trained hard and I'm just happy to be a part of it, and shout out to all my family and friends who have supported me, when really what you say is like, get the camera out of my face. Do you understand? Like, why would you interview a person in the worst moment of their life? Like, hey man, your family and friends are disowning you right now in Nova Scotia. How do you feel about that? Your girlfriend is writing a breakup text to you as we speak, and she's going to try and get with Michael Phelps. How do you feel about that? You know, it's very lonely. I get it, right? Because I was watching, I watched all, like, because as soon as they shut things down, I was like, cool, let's do this, okay? I got into all the streaming services. I got Netflix, I got Disney Plus, Apple TV, I'm like Crave, I'm like Amazon Prime, bring it all on. I know, I'm bragging, I have a bit of money, I know. It's no big deal, it's like $63 a month. It's no big deal, I'm not here to brag, but I'm rich. And I have 2 TVs. Anyways, the thing is, that's not the point, that's not why we're here. We're here. So I'm enjoying myself. I mean, that's my world. I'm enjoying all the streamings. I'm just going. And one of the things that I enjoy is when you're binge watching a television show, right? On this, the experience is very different, right? On each streaming service, because like Netflix and like Crave, for example, they tell you like an episode ends and they give you like Netflix like 15 seconds and Crave is like 13 seconds. They're like, listen, you have 13 seconds to figure out, do you want to watch the second episode? Maybe pause it, go to the bathroom, get a snack, whatever. They give you that countdown. And then when it's done, they go into the next episode. You're like, cool, right? And I was enjoying this. And then I went to Amazon Prime. And Amazon Prime don't fuck around, okay? They don't care about your life. Because you'll start episode 1, okay, of a TV show on Amazon Prime. And 4 hours later, they'll be like, yeah, you're 14 minutes into episode 5, bitch. Deal with it. You're like, whoa, what happened? There was no warning. There's no lag time. There's nothing. If you don't pause on Amazon Prime, you could be on your couch for 3 days. And this is what I did. But this is why I know I'm built for stage 1. I was built for stage 1. Because you know why? I came out of this quarantine the same weight I went in with. None of you can claim that. None of you can do that. Because everyone that I know either gained weight or lost weight, okay? Everyone I know either went in, I was like eating everything in the world, and they gained weight, or they went in and they got bored and started working out, and the fittest they've ever been in their lives. Those are the two extremes we have in society right now. I am the only one who maintained, which means I've been quarantine eating my whole life. Do you understand how messed up that is? I was stuffing myself with everything. Pizza, wings, ice cream. And my body was like, yeah, we're trained for this. This is what we do. I'm like, I'm binge eating. Like, my body's like, no, you're just eating. You're just eating. This is the same amount of food we've always had. Stop pretending this is about COVID, okay? We also learned a lot about America, right? Because this is the thing. America has been a country that's been at the forefront of everything. They want to be number one. And unfortunately for them, they're also number one in being idiots when it came to this pandemic, okay? And I, for one, enjoyed it, and I'll tell you why. I told you I was watching all the shows on television and all the streaming services, okay? And I've been watching movies my whole life about global disasters, right? There's always aliens are coming, it's an earthquake, it's a solar system, whatever is going to kill the entire world. And what happens in these movies? America saves the world. They always tell us that America will save the world. American scientists are always going to be at the forefront, and the military will get involved, and America will save the world, right? There's always these movies. And you guys know all these movies, right? If it's like a natural disaster, right? They'll show you what it's going to do to the world, right? And they'll always start in Asia. For some reason, they always start in Asia, okay? And we know it's Asia because they show a monastery on the top of a mountain. And even though none of us have ever been there, we're always like, oh, that's Bhutan. Like, we don't know why we have so much confidence saying this. We're like, oh, that's Bhutan. We've never been, but we know that's Bhutan. And they don't even put the caption at the bottom. They just go generic Asian monastery, and we're like, Bhutan. And it's going to be a flood, and it's going to take out this monastery in Bhutan. They show you the rest of the world. They show you the Eiffel Tower and the Vatican, to show you Europe, and they show you the Sydney Opera House, to show you Australia, and then they go over to Africa, and it's always a desert with a bunch of naked people, okay? And that's how we know. It's like, put black naked people in a desert, people will know that's Africa, and that's fucked up, okay? Because I'm an African immigrant. I'm like, why is that us? Okay? Especially because all these naked people in the desert are somehow watching satellite television. I'm like, what is this television plugged into? There's not an electric socket for miles, but they're watching a satellite television in the middle of a desert, butt naked. What kind of priorities do you think we have as Africans? Where like, no, get me the satellite television. I don't need pants. I don't need pants. And then in real life, a real global pandemic showed up, and every country got it right except America. And I was like, oh, this is hilarious. Because they're going to make a movie about this, and they're going to pretend they actually did it right, and we're all going to laugh in unison, just looking around, be like, no, New Zealand and Senegal got this right, America did not. But you know that movie is coming, and it's going to be Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, who somehow is a chemist and also a Navy SEAL at the same time. And he's just going to go around America just punching vaccines into people, just like, "Rah! Rah!" Then he'll do the eyebrow thing. And I'll be like, oh my God. I learned about white people in this thing, right? The things that I didn't know. Because as black people, even brown people, any of the people who are trying to fight for a seat at the equality table, we've been doing this wrong. Like, this is how we've been trying to fight for equality. We've been trying education, representation, advocacy, protesting, arts, music, comedy, whatever, all this stuff we're trying, and none of it has worked. And then COVID taught all of us something. that we didn't know. And now we're on to you, white people, okay? We're on to you. Because it took only 3 weeks for white people to not have access to their hairdressers to fall apart. They fall apart. White people were in the middle of this just crying, being like, oh my goodness, my roots are showing. I'm never gonna be able to leave the house ever again. And I'm like, this is what we need to do. I'm telling you, all the black, brown people, we need to band together and start killing hairdressers. All of them, take them out, just take them out. Once we're done with all of them, we'll run the planet easy. There's no white person is gonna leave their house. But I also understood why racism is important to white people, because everyone is racist, don't get me wrong. Every single person is racist in a way. We see it, we see differences, and we are biased about them. But white people are the most aggressive with it, and I realized why. It's because most of you decided at the beginning of this that you were done with makeup. And that is the most horrifying thing I've ever seen in my life, okay? I was in Zoom meetings with white people with no makeup, and I was like, whoa, what is happening? Why is there a ghost on screen? Why is there? And now I understand why racism is important to you, because you have people like me who just wake up and we just get out of the house, okay? We don't have to put a single brush to our faces to leave the house, and that must piss you off, because you ever meet a white person with no makeup? They look like they're dying. They look like they're, like every white person, like every time I'll get into a Zoom meeting with a white person that doesn't have makeup on, I'll be like, do you have COVID? Like, what is happening? And they're like, no, I'm actually feeling great. I'm like, you don't look like it. You don't look like it. Put something. Where do your eyes stop? I don't even understand what is happening. Because this is the only thing I knew about white people before the pandemic. The only thing I knew about white people that for sure is like the pride that you take in handling spicy food. That's the only thing that I knew about you. White people love to tell you how they handle spicy food. It's a moment of pride. And I'm here to tell all the white people in the room, I understand that this is a conversation you have with other white people and it seems okay, but when you tell the rest of us, you seem like crazy human beings, okay? We don't need to know about this. Like, we don't need, like, oh my goodness, I can handle my spice. Good for you, okay? I have things to do. Do you understand? I went on a date once with this white girl, and she was like, oh my goodness, I went to India and they gave me all this spicy food and I handled it all. I was like, they didn't give you spicy food, they gave you food. What is happening? You think they saw you and they were like, give us the special spice blend? Do you understand how crazy it is that you were sitting at the table with Indian people being like, oh my goodness, I can handle the spice, and they were like, what spice? Like, what are you? And I think I felt bad for, I felt particularly bad for a particular group of white people during the conversation that was happening about race. And that group of white people that I felt bad for were white people in interracial relationships, because they've been training their whole lives for this moment. They were training their whole lives for this moment. And then it happened, and the first thing they were told is, no, as a white person, shut up and listen. And they were like, are you kidding me? I've been sleeping with this heathen for 7 years so I can be an authority on racism. You ever meet a white person that's dating a non-white person? Oh, they know everything about race. Oh my goodness, they're ready. And they were like, no, we don't want to listen to you anymore. We're going to listen to the minorities as they tell us their pain. And I was like, oh man, I feel for them. Because there's no one on the planet more confident. There's no one on the planet more confident than a white person dating a non-white person. You know why? Because you can't call them racist. You can't. Because the default for us minorities is anytime we meet a white person, we're like, racist until proven different. You understand? That is the default. That is the life that we live. I know it's supposed to be a secret, but I'm telling you right now, anytime I meet a new white person in my life, I'm like, prove to me that you're not racist. That is the default. And that is the joy that white people in interracial relationships, they love it. That's why they'll never walk into a building with their significant other. They'll never do it. They'll always walk 5, 6, 7, 8 steps ahead because they want the reveal. They want the moment of pride. They want to walk into the room and look around, and all of you will look at them and be like, oh, just another regular white person. And they'll be like, aha! That's what you might think. That I'm just another regular Brad, huh? But that's where you're wrong, because in 3, 2, 1, boom, black Nigerian wife, yeah! And that's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for coming out. Have a good night. Thank you. Good night.